All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Problem Solver Politics live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with none other than Cody Le Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about all kinds of cool, interesting stuff. For example, why is hashtag QAnon trending on the Twitter machine? I actually find this quite hilarious myself. I know Cody and I have differing opinions on... hey, Cody, I got a good solid look at your forearm there.
It was indeed I.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's start out with a couple of comments here. That first off, Christian says this QAnon seems like some Alex Jones shiz. Let me tell you, I would knock on Alex Jones if he were not as often right as he is. You know what I'm saying?
Alex Jones should have been a professional wrestler.
Okay, rock on.
He really should have. I would live just to watch Alex Jones cutting a promo, and when I get a hold of him, I would live for that. He'd be good at it. It's honestly what I like Alex Jones. Oh, I got to fix my camera again in a second. But that's what I like Alex Jones for, is for being basically a pro wrestler. And you look at his body type, he could have been a pro wrestler, kind of like maybe like physically in like the Arn Anderson role, maybe a little bit shorter than Arn Anderson, but kind of like strong style big guy. I think he can do it.
I mean, he's big.
Yeah,
he's a big dude. I
don't think he wouldn't have made as much money, but he could have been a big star in wrestling. I mean, you look at professional wrestlers; they're generally colorful characters. It's interesting kind of person who wants to put on tights, play make believe, and then get slammed onto a mat 15 times in a row. It's kind of
I don't know. See,
specific individual who wants to do that stuff.
See, I think I'm with Joe Rogan on this one. He says I like him. He just I don't know. He seems like he'd be one hell of a neighbor, man. Like just a super fun guy to live next to. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm with Joe Rogan on this one. I confess I'm not that familiar with him. I have friends that have spoken with him, actually, even from the studio.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
But I haven't watched his show. So,
it's pretty crazy. Like I said, no one can say he's not a charismatic speaker. He's just also a lunatic and a madman. So, unfortunately, it's actually an awful combination to be charismatic and a madman. There's a reason why the joke compilations go viral, because they're funny, because the guy's got just energy to him. Unfortunately, the energy gets directed in the most bizarre possible. But I don't know. That's kind of a beauty to it. That's why I really wish there was this, I don't know the word for it, right? But this idea of appreciating an eccentric without necessarily thinking they have, prescriptions for how we should live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's an eccentric, says goofy stuff, goes off the rails, he wants to burn the sun or whatever. Hey, that's fine. Anyway, though, I want to get to something kind of hilarious, I think, going on. So,
yeah, hit us.
A lot of people probably are wondering. Sorry, Dustin brought up a great point. There's so many storylines you can do with Alex Jones. Like, he loses a match, and it's a globalist conspiracy. I demand a rematch. I demand in a cage, so there's going to be no interference. I mean, everything is perfect right there. Alex Jones could have a million storylines, character reinvent. He legitimately would have been a millionaire. Anyway, moving on. Why is QAnon trending? Because I'm sure a lot of you guys in chat are wondering too, like, yeah, why would that be? Some of you guys think, oh, those threads are crazy. People have a lot of conspiracy theories. It's actually dumber than that. It turns out it's really easy to trick people. And word got out. There's another thing trending on Twitter. You might ask yourself, I'm going to show you guys right now the top Twitter trends right now, and tell me what stands out. Like, what's weird here?
Okay.
On the trends on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
You look, most recent, George Floyd Memorial. Okay. John Dowd, Barry Wise, some names. Yeah, people are being discussed a lot. Okay. And you might wonder why. Why is White Life Matters trending on Twitter? Why is QAnon trending on Twitter? Like, is that really like the climate of Twitter? That's what gets discussed as trending?
Okay.
I mean, you look at the trending list. Those are what the trending trends. Those are the trends.
Yeah.
That's what's being discussed. Now, as I said, unfortunately, it turns out it's very simply very easy to trick people. The reason why these terms are trending is because K-pop Twitter, if anyone uses Twitter would know this, they call them fan cams and stuff. K-pop fans love to just show up in Twitter threads and post pictures of K-pop stars. So I'll go through this, the White Life Matters one. I'll go to QAnon in a second, and you'll notice it's mostly just people dancing around to K-pop, right? More K-pop, other stuff, more K-pop, there's some more K-pop. Goes along. I'll switch over to the other one is QAnon. It's QAnon, same thing. Mostly K-pop and other things. But here's the thing I don't think people fully understand in this stuff is these posts don't really matter because the top trends in America right now include QAnon and White Life Matters. That was the game they played. That was the trick. The trick was to get people to flood these trends that would never be trending. It would never be showing up on people's Twitter trends ever if it wasn't for some astroturfing, like convincing people that, tweeting this is good for you. When in reality, no, it's good for them, dude.
Yeah.
And the QAnon people, the White Life Matters people, they're trending on Twitter right now.
It's almost like
it helps them. It doesn't help the K-pop crowd. It helps them. What's scaring me is I am seeing this happen so much. You just give someone a push and they do exactly what you want them to do, while they think the whole time they're working autonomously.
Well, it almost reminds me. It almost reminds me of. I don't know if this was your experience, Cody, as a kid, but I remember so often as a kid when we would be taught DARE and SANE, and the officer from the sheriff's department would come in and teach you about all of these drugs and what they do to you and how they make you feel and how they're bad and so on and so forth. I remember literally as a fourth grader thinking, dude, you're teaching us a lot about drugs. Like, how many kids in my class never would have thought to use drugs, especially in late elementary school, if you hadn't have brought it up and just mentioned it? And for me, I look at this and I think, at what point do we just devolve into a Twitter war in which we feel morally justified in just annihilating the other half because we think they are the other half?
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you...
Because that's what it's devolving into.
But it's not even that. It doesn't matter what you think. It's just, congratulations. No offense if anyone in this chat, particularly... If anyone in this chat indulged in this themselves, no flame. It happens, man. People get tricked, but you played yourself. Congratulations. You played yourself. White Life Matters and QAnon are one of the top trends in Twitter. I legitimately think QAnon is written in the bizarre text, if you could see it right here, legitimately because they have like filters to prevent QAnon from trending on Twitter, because Twitter doesn't want things like QAnon trending. So how do you get something like QAnon trending? You convince people to not trend it, and they do.
Look at this. Literally, this is the mindset of these people. No, go back up to that one.
I don't care what the mindset of Vivid A bisexual with 900 followers. I don't know who this person is, dude.
I literally said, I don't know who QAnon is, but F you and F white supremacists.
Oh, sorry, that's okay. I get what you mean. Yeah.
So I'm like, I will obliterate white. So literally, this person has no idea what they're even fighting against.
Yeah, getting played. They played you. You did their job for them. What they wanted you to do, the people you're fighting against, they wanted you to trend their words. And it's hard to get their key phrase trending. It's hard to get their banner trending. How do you get your slogan trending when it's not popular and people don't like it? You just get the K-pop crowd to do it because they'll post these goddamn fan cams. Dude, it's hilarious. It'll be like, oh my God, 2 commercial airliners collapsed in midair and everyone died. It's one of this just like unique tragedy, and then the K-pop stands will show up and just post fan cams on the Twitter thing. But it's just funny to me. It's like, yeah, you go through the actual trend on Twitter and you'll notice the content isn't there, but QAnon and White Life Matters are trending on Twitter. I never thought I would see that happen. I guess the only way you can get those things trending is by convincing other people to do it for you, and they did. It's weird, but they did.
Hey, Cody, so what things...
Ask yourself, do you want those things trending when you tweet this? If you don't put, like, I'm not saying Twitter's the most important thing ever, but I'm just saying, keep in mind, this is what happens.
Yeah.
People tell you, whatever you do, don't do this. I would hate if you did this. Man, oh man, if that happened, I would have a cow. And then you go out and do it, and they're just like, yes, got him.
Yeah, so it almost makes you think, Cody, what are we going to make people do? How can we ride this wave of, just getting what we want from people?
Don't. It ends bad. So don't do it. I mean, I know this phrase has been going around a lot of different ways, but it honestly is a pretty good one. And you get to decide for yourself what a stupid game is or not. But play stupid games, win stupid prize. It gets passed around. But think about what it means, right? Like, sometimes you have to like keep in mind that the things can go bad for you. I see a lot of people with this, like I've seen a lot, friends talking about the protests and the riots. Like, yeah, but if this doesn't work, like, what? We're supposed to just give up? And it's like, well, what? Like, maybe not give up, but maybe keep in mind, like, this could just fail spectacularly. Perhaps a better planned version later would have been wise. But like I said, it's like the government, and not the government, but people have gotten really good. Marketers are what they really are. They're marketers. Have gotten really good, I think, at FOMO.
Yeah.
Do it now. You got to post it right now. Get it trending now. Don't ask why. Who cares? You got to do it. Join the club. And people just do it. And they're like, what do I do? Like you said, there's people who are like, why am I making QAnon trend on Twitter again? I don't get it. But I guess, sure, we have to do it. Everyone's doing it.
Because it's white supremacy.
Yeah, well, who cares why?
It's
just
a
do
new
it.
religion,
No, but
man.
it's like,
It's
but what I'm
weird.
saying is it's not even that ideological. It's just who cares why do it? It's because honestly, I think there's something, we brought this up before. We were talking about this before, but I think it's true. I don't think we fully appreciated what removing body language and subtle
Nuance.
from discussion actually does. I don't think we fully appreciated it until it happened. I don't think we fully appreciated what is it going to mean when I can read your sentence and spend 5 minutes coming up with 5 or 6 definitions and go, yeah, that's the one I don't like. So that's what you meant. Clearly. I mean, you can't do that in a conversation when you can see in their eyes and you can see their soul, so to speak, right? But when that's not there, you get to decide. And I think it's scary, but I just think it's funny, right? People have decided it's good and noble for them to trend QAnon. Now millions of people might find out what QAnon is for the first time when they go, what the hell is this QAnon thing?
Yeah.
And sure, maybe of the millions, only thousands will go, oh, QAnon, cool, I'm into this now. But you just recruited for QAnon peoples for no reason.
Yeah.
You're doing their dirty work because you don't want to miss out, I guess. I'm not going to get into people's minds. I have no idea why they'd be doing it. But I follow marketer Twitter. It exists, and they're good at it, and they make money. People have realized how to market through text.
Yeah.
You know when it got perfected, by the way, marketing through text? In like the 20s, man. Like, this is old art. It just, when television and radio came out, what do you know? You're hearing and seeing things, not just reading. And we kind of got away from, but now we're back. You're reading. We were joking. There was this scene that happened yesterday in Newport Beach where there's protesters standing in the middle of a street and a car drove at them.
Yeah.
And all the protesters kind of just like parted to the side and yelled at him and the car drove by and then the driver got arrested.
Yeah. Well, because they were blocking the street.
Yeah. But okay, who cares why? Who cares why, right? That's the facts. A car drove towards the crowd parted, threw things at the car, and then the car drove away and was arrested because he was breaking the rules. That was the story. Now, it could be framed as, oh my God, I can't even explain what I just saw. This car just barreled at a crowd of protest. True. But like realistically, if you watch the video and you read the whole story, it's like, oh, dang, I'm glad they're punishing him. Something bad could have happened, him or her. I'm female. But right, like why? You don't need the different languages. When you see it happen, you kind of decide. I saw it. I read the tweets and I was like, what the hell? And then I watched the video and I'm like, oh, wait, they just kind of moved out of the way and yelled at him because he was doing something wrong, but everyone got out of the way and wasn't injured, and then they chased him down and arrested him because he did something wrong. And it's like, am I really supposed to be like livid and outraged that justice was served and no one got hurt?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad no one got hurt, and I'm glad they were arrested. I'm not outraged that it happened. Because, I don't know, I just think it's weird, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm going off topic here, but I just do think that was something people didn't fully appreciate, that once you take the literal verbal and then like the nonverbal like physical cues out of communication and it's just text, stuff gets wonky, man.
So we got a super chat here from Samwell54. Any thoughts on an unknown source using bots to trend hashtag DC blackout, deliberately spreading false information? Cody, got any thoughts, my man?
I think it's more, I honestly think this is, I think there's opportunists all over the place, and these are the online ones. They're having fun. I see the joke threads. They literally go to people's Facebook. They go to like Facebook communities, and they say that like it literally happened to where we live right now. Not exactly DC blackout, but I think it's the same idea. Where people realize if you get rumors going on Facebook that hundreds of out-of-towners are coming to riot through your city streets, people lose their minds. You can literally go on Twitter and you can look, and there's all these small communities. It just happened to ours that had the same bad info fed to them that busloads of out-of-town Antifa were coming. Those are all memes.
Yeah. So we got a couple of comments here. Trev Third says, Cody, slow your scroll. Loving the pun. That's pretty awesome. And Christian just figured out what QAnon was. And then Anthony says, let's talk about BLM not demanding anything concrete like UBI. It's true. Paget did an interview with a bunch of people at a BLM rally and apparently asked them about UBI, and the vast majority had no idea what it was, even though it was strongly advocated by Martin Luther King. Well, I think,
no offense, sorry, but I think that's I don't. When I see people go out and protest, like protest is all you can do. Protest is what matters. I just challenge people, like, don't fall for the trick that just go in the streets and be mad to get things changed. Yeah, like you'll notice people will be out there and they won't even know how to change the things or how to fix it. They're just demanding others do it. Because that's the thing. If you trick people to go in the streets and demand someone else changes things for them, you get to come along and change the things for them and how you want. And I feel like I just see this happening. It's driving me crazy, breaking my heart. I see it, I'm like, God, man, I don't see how anyone's going to get what they want this way. But you're going up against a force that knows what it wants and it's getting it from you.
Yeah.
Like with this QAnon stuff. People don't know why they're trending it. Guess what? The people that tricked you into trending it, they know why they're trending. They know why you're posting this. You may not. They do. And it keeps happening. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but I just feel like I keep seeing the same scenario play out, and it's just driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't actually know why you're doing what you're doing, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Who does it actually benefit? If it isn't literally you now in a specific way, take a step back. You might just be following someone's instructions right now without realizing it.
Yeah. So we got another super chat. Interesting question here. Sly Cactus asked, thoughts on bill in Congress to end qualified immunity. Could this finally be the step in the right direction against cops who violate civil rights? You want to take this at the beginning or you want me to?
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say other than I feel like I have less to say about this than you do. Sure. Ultimately, man, it always depends on how the courts and how the law actually applies things. I don't really care when I hear about they change the statute or a law because they don't have to enforce every law in the books the same, and they don't. And they don't have to charge everyone the same, and they don't. And they don't have to demand the same plea deals from everyone, and they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I think it could be beneficial in some ways. I think in some ways it could be beneficial.
Yeah. So qualified immunity is interesting because it's definitely one of those things where the how it is implemented is just as important as the what. There is a place for qualified immunity. And believe it or not, I've been involved in $10+ million lawsuits that have talked about qualified immunity. One of them is specifically called the Monroe Doctrine. And it's important that our audience understands there is some nuance here. Qualified immunity is not just immunity. Cops don't get to do just whatever they want. And as long as they have the badge on, say, well, I was operating in an official capacity, therefore I am immune. Okay, that's the way video games work. That's not the way real life works. Okay, but qualified immunity protects a police officer. Let's just say, for example, there's a shootout, there's a lot going on, and in good faith and without any kind of bias, there's an accident or a ricochet or anything like that. Because that cop was called to that community, and there was damage done, but since he was operating in his official capacity, he himself is not held liable. You could try and sue the department as a whole, and they do, left and right, for any kind of damages and so on and so forth. But that individual officer is immune because he qualified for that immunity by operating in an official capacity according to clearly established guidelines. So the rules for qualified immunity are you have to show that clearly established guidelines and training protocols were violated in order for this person to now be charged with something criminal. Okay. And by the way, I think that's where we're at. That officer, I doubt he ever received any kind of training that says when a guy goes limp, keep your boot on his neck for an extra 7 minutes. Okay, I doubt there was any clearly established protocols for the guys that showed up and were the supporting officers to say, oh, hey, yeah, he's gone limp. Yeah, don't roll him over so that his airway is not restricted. Yeah, just keep him there.
Well, what do you think about the radical solution being proposed to a lot of this stuff? Well, the radical end of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying is we don't need new laws. We just need better enforcement of the existing laws.
Yeah, what about the idea, though, of abolishing police? Replacing them with...
Yeah, let's go for that. Yeah, let's abolish the police.
Hold on,
yeah, okay.
Hold on, though.
Okay.
On the record, I think it's the worst idea ever. But the reason why I think it's the worst idea ever is for one reason, is because people want to abolish armed patrols. They'll just become private sector.
Yeah.
The more affluent and wealthy your community is, the better armed your local militia. Like this notion that we've never had a thing with no police before, we did. You had a militia that patrolled your community. Yeah, maybe there was a constable and a magistrate.
Yeah.
But this notion of armed populaces patrolling communities isn't foreign. The notion of your community is as well defended as they can afford to arm their soldiers isn't new. That's what we used to do.
You're literally looking at the formation of the Black Panthers.
Because but that's what worries me is that you can make the case to people. Well, they'll sign the police away from them, and then the very same people who tricked you into doing it will say, "Cool. Well, I have like literally paramilitaries patrolling my neighborhoods now and they do what I say because they work for me. I got those dumb, stupid, ineffective police that won't shoo you off my property gone, and now I have basically attack dogs who do what I say, and you have nothing." That's what worries me. Obviously, I think it's a very radical, but I think it's removing it. It's just they're not. For example, I believe Minnesota. Minnesota. I think no longer will have like uniformed police, like school resource officers. Same in Portland. I'm like 100. I can't tell you for sure. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna have security firms keep the peace now.
Well, yeah, and see, this is. Well, I was gonna finish my thought here. When asked about what do I think about qualified immunity, it's something that has to be done right, okay? Because it's a double-edged sword. Everybody that's calling to get rid of qualified immunity, well, I think cops need more accountability. But torching to the ground qualified immunity, I'm not convinced is the way out of this, simply because if you look at things holistically, we're always trying to say we want to look at things holistically and patting ourselves on the back as good liberals if we do things holistically. Well, holistically, how are you ever going to recruit a professional, athletic, intelligent, and sharp police force from the populace? The population. How are you going to recruit men and women to defend the Constitution when you say, look, we need you to go out there with a gun and to get in the most dangerous situations, but let me tell you, if you F up, jail time. We're going to put you in extremely tense situations where you may or may not be sure whether or not your life is on the line, and dude, you're going to have to live on a hairpin trigger, and if you pull wrong, let me tell you, 30 years to life in prison. And your family's going to get doxxed, and your house is going to get burned down. Like, nobody would ever want to take that job. And so we can't have a cure that is worse than the disease. We need to augment accountability. Part of that, I think, is to put pressure on these police unions that defend bad cops. Just like we need to put pressure on teachers unions that defend how do you euphemize the bad teachers in LA Unified School District and what they do with kids so you don't get boosted off YouTube?
But how about this? How about the fact that, I guess you could say, the amount of statutory rape cases between teachers and students is freaking alarming if you look into it.
Yeah, it's absurd.
The thing is, male to female, they'll get away with it every time, and it bothers me. It's like, why? It's still an adult and a child. Does it not matter anymore?
You mean female to male?
Well, I mean, like, adult woman, young child.
Yeah, adult woman.
Dude, that
yeah.
stuff happens all the time, and I'm like, weird, man. Like, it's really not even about the sex thing, about like male or female. Who cares? It's just the idea of like you're their teacher. They're supposed to like you're like closer to their parent than you are their friend at this point. That's weird. I don't know. Sorry, tangent. But again, a lot of times they do get in trouble and go to jail, and they do turn them in. But
well, because here's what's going to happen:
that many get arrested. How many aren't?
If you're really a progressive person and you want the average middle class person, the average lower class person to have a much better life, what'd you say?
I want to get to a couple super chats. Sorry, really quickly. We blew past the one big one I want to get to. $50 from Fang W said, for your AC. Thank you very much, man.
Yes.
Very much appreciate it. I want to make sure we definitely get that. And yes, our AC is on right now, and it's the reason why we're able to stream and hang out like this. And then one last super chat, $5 more from MP. We need to invest more in education, specifically in communities of color. By the way, have you invited Yang for an interview yet? We've invited Yang, but we've not donated enough to Yang, so we'll probably not get the interview. No flame. It's just that's literally, I understand why. He has better places to be, so to speak. So I get it.
Yeah.
Open invitation anytime he wants. But
hey, so Fang W,
other things in the way.
Mondo shout out. Thank you very much, Fang. That helps a ton. We literally spent like 4 hours yesterday installing this thing. So, yes, thank you very much. And back to my question. This is all I worry about. Have any of you guys ever seen RoboCop? That's literally what we're heading towards.
It's a great movie.
If you make it so that a civilian,
corporate policing, exactly.
Yeah, citizen law enforcement agency done by citizens and fellow members of the community is untenable for fear of having your life ruined as well as taken away from you, what is left? Because there will always be cops. There will always be robbers. And if you want to defund the cops, I'm seeing comments in the chat here saying, oh, Minneapolis isn't going to defund their police department. But that's a big that's a big call that I'm seeing from the left right now to defund the police department. Oh, okay. So when your political enemies know that you said something they disliked on Twitter, they're going to come and settle the score. We don't do that as a society, and we don't burn our political enemies' houses to the ground because the cops will come.
But they never.
But when there's no cops,
private security. That's never on the table.
Well, no, I know, but what's private security? Oh, sorry, you couldn't afford me? Yeah. Sorry, you can't afford me. So even though, you're getting thumped and you're getting beat right now, sorry, for $20 an hour, I'll come over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then in order to compensate for that, you're going to have firms that are competing for what? For the money of the wealthy elites. Okay. And who knows, actually, maybe if the free market were allowed to compete in security, we actually might have a better police force. Who knows? Maybe this ends up being a good thing.
Really?
And the libertarians are loving it. But I've seen way too many RoboCop movies to think that
basically dial a car and have armed dudes show up to enforce justice for you is like the way to go through Uber or Lyft.
Hey, will Uber or Lyft be that?
Yeah, crowdsourced secure. What is it called? Yeah, it's like what's the word for it? For like that kind of stuff, like Postmate and stuff. Contracted secured.
Yeah, well,
I just feel like I don't want to spend too long talking about. You talk about it. All I wanted to say is I feel like a lot of people are walking down this path towards that, towards a policing force that's hired not through tax dollars, but literally just through citizens paying companies. And they'll do a good enough job of wrapping it in. Look, if you live in our community, it's like 9% of your HOA.
It's part of your HOA, exactly.
You live in an apartment, it's like a small part of your rent. Like, they'll do it like that. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to like.
By the way, what better way to all of a sudden have massive class warfare and class divisions in our society?
You know who used to love? Well, do you know?
You will literally create the Narrows in Batman. No, you will literally create the Narrows in Batman.
But I don't know who's gone back a long way in offering protection to people.
What do you mean, who's gone back?
For a long time, organized crime is more than happy to provide protection to anyone just for a price. It's crazy. Anyway, I don't want to get lost in it. It scares me because, look, I understand that people don't like what the police are doing, but it doesn't mean that they'll be replaced by something better. They could just be replaced by something worse in a different way, or as bad but different. Well, I don't know. I feel like I just feel like taking it out of the state, it gets less accountable. Like, are corporations accountable for damn near anything? It was a British BP. Are they still open? Are they still operating?
Yeah.
Right, like
British Petroleum.
Yeah, like what?
They just renamed. I think they just renamed, didn't they?
But isn't it crazy? Like, I honestly don't know, but it's crazy. Like, what corporations get away with is Jesus, man. They'll do whatever they want and get away with it. They'll operate another. Seriously, what happens if you try to sue a security company because they roughed you up, but they're based out of like Ireland or something? So like, you're just gonna civil suit the guy?
Yeah.
Who broke your legs? What, maybe hopefully get him to the courts? I don't know who arrests him. It just scares me. It does scare me.
Well, also, I'd like to respond a little bit to MP here. He said we need to invest. I know I read the super chat already, but I'm going to readdress this. Keep those super chats coming, though, guys. We love continuing the conversation and helps out a lot paying off that AC. We need to invest a ton more in education, especially in communities of color. By the way, have you invited Yang for an interview yet? Well, you say we need to invest a ton more in education. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think so. With Title IX, we need to change how it's funded.
He didn't say money. What about just effort?
Well, effort. You're taking the words out of my mouth. Is the money isn't the problem in schools? I'm convinced. I mean, schools are dripping in money. Even these worse off, bad communities, they are dripping in money. The problem is fund accounting. You have to use it or lose it. And second, no matter how much money you throw at an incompetent teacher and a bad system that teaches to a test instead of teaching life skills, you won't breed better citizens. And what we have is a bad educational system. So no matter how much money you throw at a bad system, it will not improve. And the data shows that. We have septupled the amount of money we put in education per child since 1964. Septupled the amount of money we put in primary education and secondary education, not university education, but public education. And we have gotten zero measurable quantifier results improvements. So what does that tell you? That money isn't the issue. Yes, you need money. And yes, it needs to be fair. And using property tax in order to fund a school is inherently unfair. And that's the way some of the states still do it. And that could get improved. But as we have chased God out of our society and basic American values out of our schools, money is not going to solve that issue. A return to our values, okay, and a return to what we teach as important in education is what's going to make us better. So yes, we need to invest a ton more in education, but not money. Not money. I got 15 stories
Hold on, one second,
of
dude.
horrendous waste.
But is that really the problem with students now? They don't have enough interest in traditional values and stuff?
No, this is...
Our school system is designed... Our school system is designed to
create docile factory
but
workers.
it's designed to make you stupid based on like standards from the 80s. Like they don't
Yes.
even teach you stuff that's helpful anymore.
Exactly.
I don't care about traditional stuff we used to teach. Why don't we just teach kids how the goddamn word works now? We don't. We teach them how it worked 25 years ago when they wrote the books.
Well,
It's
and
too
they got to
expensive to write
factor
new ones.
trinomials when they don't know how to balance
Dude,
a checkbook.
We were talking about the French Revolution. I remembered something. You brought up the fact. During the French Revolution, the revolutionary government imposed what's called decimal time.
Yeah.
Decimal time, for those of you guys who don't know, is 100 seconds in a... No, I think it's... What was it, like 100? I honestly can't even remember. All I know is basically in decimal time, everything was by tens. And was it 100 seconds? And basically, yeah, like I think it was 100 seconds in a minute because a second got like basically...
And it was no longer Anno Domini
but here's my
AD,
point.
the year of our Lord. It
I don't
was
care
the
about
year
that
of the
stuff.
French
No.
government.
That's what I'm talking about. I literally remember, for no fucking reason, apologize my language, but in school, I sat down one day and they would put up a time. So in our time, it would be 12:37. What would it be in decimal time? When and what? But I'm saying just that is how kids are taught in schools. That's what I remember being taught in schools.
Yeah.
It was always these games, but it's like, what? It was literally, you can get a few worksheets. It'll fill the school day. You can get them out of there.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff we teach kids that's useful is low. So I think that, I don't know if money's what it needs, but I would like to see people who care more with more effort looking at curriculums in ways that's not just how do we get... Because here's the thing, though. Politics, unfortunately, got in the way. Because graduation rates everything became political. But here's the thing. If the schools aren't preparing kids for the world, nothing mattered that you fought for. Because you're just hamstringing the kids. And I think a lot of the stuff in schools isn't the money per se, but it's where the money's headed. I mean, I just think anyone who's like young enough, not young enough, even to old people, I have a weird memory, but think back of the stuff they'd have you do for 7 hours in elementary and middle school and even high school. Even in high school, it would just be like, I mean, there was times where it was literally like, look, man, you're just going to have to do this thing for the next hour, right? And then at university, there's some classes where they do kind of like teach you stuff, right? But up until then, they'll explain to you that a concept existed once and see if you could figure it out. It's like, dude, what does reading decimal time have to do with anything? How does it help anyone at all? Knowing that was a thing is interesting, okay. But like doing worksheets on like how to read it is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's all I feel like that's the problem. The schools are designed to come up with a worksheet that can be graded so you could chart the kids and get them out of there.
Hey, Emerald
Bring
Meyer
them
makes
next
a really good comment. One of the things I love about trying to communicate on Twitter, one of the few things I actually enjoy about YouTube comments and Twitter comments and so on and so forth, is because it forces you to be able to compress your ideas into a smaller space. And I think there actually is a skill in that. Okay, and Emerald Miner very much sums up a lot of my thoughts here. It says our school system needs to make people care about their adult life, not just college. More trades and life skill emphasis. You know, that's so true to say our school system needs to make people care about their adult life.
Yes.
Not just college.
It's not there. You'll notice once you get to college, they don't call it 13th and 14th and 15th and 16th grade. It's acknowledged that like the primary 1 through 12 you're supposed to go to and secondary education are separate. However, you'll notice they don't really treat it that way in schools. They kind of pitch freshman year as 13th grade to kids now. So I remember that's what they pitch it to us. As like, no, you gotta just stay in the school. I have to admit, I could see why the school systems might be interested in keeping people in their system, right?
Yeah.
Like they want you to stay in their system and keep paying them, keep funding. I mean, how much the companies that sell textbooks in colleges, for every one kid that goes to university, how much money do they make?
Yeah.
How about the professors who write the damn textbooks themselves and make you buy them? How about those?
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a grift.
Not even a grift. It's just that I don't blame the education system for viewing itself as noble and thinking you should stay in the education system until you're 60 years old. From the perspective of the education system, that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
From the perspective of academia, everyone should be in university until they're 45, studying everything. But I think we know just not how society can function with people just studying in university for 50 years. Like, you need people that learn the things outside as well. Like, you need a lot of people doing a lot of stuff. And it's funny, though, that and it's true, they'll kind of like look down on you. Like, well, if you want, I guess you don't have to go to college, like. You could just like skip it. It's not like mandatory, but let's look and see what colleges you can get into. They're like army recruiters in high school trying to get you to go to the army. Yeah, look, young guy join the army, but let's look at some options. Hey, you'll make more money. I mean, they literally have people that are paid by the county, the state, or the city, wherever they have the structure where you live, that sit in schools, bring kids in, and then basically recruit them to university. And the thing is, you're 17, 18, 19 years old, signing loans, doing stuff you probably shouldn't be doing because it was just like, that's the way you do it. Because again, though, you spent 12 years of your life in the education system. It's kind of scary to leave it. It's easy to stay in it.
Yeah.
Just do what I was told. Go to the next grade. Okay, don't really worry too much about it. Because again, the schools, I don't know. It is weird, but it just feels like there isn't that sense that you should be leaving 12th grade, hitting the world, ready to take it on.
Well, no, but there is in other countries, and there used to be. See, my grandfather at 14 years old was getting out early from school to go work on the railroad. By the time he was 15, he qualified for the new, at that time, Social Security program. I mean, in Germany, once you turn 16, I think your last 2 years of public education, you're apprenticed in one of the local factories, in one of the engineering firms. You're learning CAD, for heaven's sakes, over there, because they definitely have this feeling that, okay, we are us, we are Germany, we are China, we are Czechoslovakia, and we need to compete, and it is a we, and that is a good aspect of nationalism. I think it motivates somebody to feel like they're taking part in a synergistic whole. And that's important. It's enriching, and it's part of your identity. So Dustin says, I think the budget needs to be distributed better, more to the K through 12 teachers. Yeah, absolutely. We also need to change how teachers are paid. There's nothing wrong with merit pay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with merit pay.
Well, hold on.
You'd have to do it to the sucky teachers that don't want to actually work.
No, but from the perspective of the unions, wrong with
and if you defend teachers unions, you're defending the corrupt police unions that literally protect cops like the ones that killed George Floyd. So if you want to give me an argument that the teachers unions won't like it,
that
then
seems
fine.
like a pretty insane conflation.
No, it's the same mindset. How is the mindset of a teachers union protecting a crappy teacher different than the mindset of a police union protecting a corrupt cop? How are those two different?
The mindset is similar. It's just it's possible to hold the conflicting opinions that one's bad and the other isn't. I'm sorry, but it's possible to hold those. You don't have to believe both are true.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm
repeat
personally
that.
of the mindset that both are wrong. It's possible to be of the mindset that one is wrong and the other isn't. Or one's wrong to a degree that's more severe to the other, to the point where I don't believe both are mutually exclusive. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And a super chat. You want to get to that?
Actually, you read it. I'm responding to a chat in the text right now.
Pivot Guy, 401, $5 super chat. I remember pirating more than half of my books in college. I do not regret it for 1 second. Hey, Matt. I remember when I had to go to what was it? There was an IRC chat room you could go into, and you would look up. You would type in. It was like IRC, so it was search, and you type in the author or the title, and sometimes different titlings, different spellings, and every now and then you'd get it. And it would download over. I remember that. There's probably much more sophisticated stuff now, and then of course I use the Pirate Bay and stuff as well, but.
Yeah.
Yes, don't steal that.
Are you talking about the super chat where the guy says oh yeah, I remembered seeing this thinking, dude, this is your boy, man. This is your boy.
I have pirated basically everything. So
yeah.
If it can be pirated, I think you should pirate it. Buy it if you want later too. Who cares? There's reason to buy things, but try it out. What the hell? That's software. Don't let anyone convince you software is some magical thing. No, it's software.
Yeah.
There's always advantages to buying, but I will always advocate for the rights of pirate. If anyone wants to pirate any of our stuff, go ahead.
Yeah.
Man.
Diva J says something interesting. He says, while we're on educational reform, they need to teach people about the smaller elections and why they're important. I think that's completely true. The amount of political literacy that we have and economic literacy we have in this country is absolutely a joke. You can graduate from high school in the United States of America being brainwashed by the educational system without even knowing what the school board is that brainwashed you. Like the amount of understanding the average citizen has.
No, school boards don't even. The school board doesn't brainwash you. The school board gets their marching orders from the top.
Yeah, no. There. In some ways, yes. The state's Department of Education, depending on the state.
Generally speaking, or as far as I understand them,
no, they choose a lot of curriculum.
Yeah, but generally speaking, their ultimate goal is to make sure that what's passed down from their states or counties are just done the way that they're asked to be done, right?
It is in some regards a formality. Like, for example, they can't unilaterally say we're not going to teach Common Core, okay? But they can choose, for example, in what methods, in what ways, how do we spend money here, how do we spend money there? They do have influence. It's not a rubber stamp organization. It's definitely not as influential on education as maybe the Department of Education and whoever the governor appoints to be the head of the Department of Education. You know, it's definitely not as influential as that guy or girl, but it is influential, and they need to be taken seriously because they're also breeding grounds for our future leadership. Like Christy Smith in our area in the state assembly, the woman that wants to strip charter schools of all of their funding.
God. Hold on,
she exists.
Like
you don't have to mock me. This is a relative example.
I could find and play the saddest song for
you. Okay, get the small violins out. Get the large violins out because it is a sad story. But at the end of the day, she existed and was able to make it to the state assembly and was able to burn to the ground charter schools that all of the special needs parents use. Okay. Why? Because she lasted 3 cycles on the Newhall Unified School Board. That's actually a light and easy. I need to slow it down. Christy Smith, before burning charter schools to the ground, survived 3 cycles on the Newhall Unified School Board. You know what I'd say? Yeah, that's actually, I feel like I'm about to bust out into a jig now. I'm ready for the movie trailer to be over and for the real part to start. So anyway, Diva J. Okay, you can stop that now. I'm done with my sad story. Diva J 461. I think you're right that people need to understand the influence of smaller elections because they're the breeding ground of our future leadership. You know what I'm saying? So anyway. Spliff Sensei Joe Rogan says, real men don't pay for half of their college books. We Google the photocopies.
Oh, yeah. Scans, PDFs, all kinds of stuff. I used to have EPUB. If you can get the EPUB, that's great. If you have to work on PDF scans, hey, it is what it is. PDF scans suck because you can't, they're pending. It's harder to do, text finder. It's harder to generally organize them. I don't know. If you can get the EPUB, do it. Or nowadays, .mobi or shit. I don't even know.
Yeah, now Lufacarius Ratspeed says, does this show take call-ins? If not, they should. Would be great to tap in and comment. We actually did, and we still have the line. What was it, Cody? It was...
You picked it. It's just right now, basically, it was just...
It was cool. We should go back to that now that we're live streaming.
The only reason we stopped doing it is because we kind of do need someone to screen the call, just in the sense to make sure that it's stable online. And it ends up what ends up happening is a lot of the calls don't work. You don't get on because the way it's set up is difficult to use with 2 of us streaming at the same time. Okay. We do get someone on, the call gets dropped. There's just technical issues we were never.
Oh, but it was good though. We got to get back into it.
Tell you what, yeah. How many hours you want to spend troubleshooting?
I'll look into it. No, I'll look into it.
How many hours do you want to spend troubleshooting? Because I've spent so many and I couldn't get it to work. I legitimately tried. I tried to get it working. I tried to just figure out why it wasn't happening. And when we got it right, it worked, but it really was difficult. So we'll try to find something else instead.
Yeah. So, anyway. Smartest people, says JJ, I've ever met went to school and can't read, but can take apart cars by hand and put them back together. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Marco Rubio said it great on the debate stage in 2016 before he got absolutely smoked by the World Wrestling promo cutter in chief. He said the world doesn't need more 17th century German philosophers. We need more carpet layers. And I think that a lot of the reason why we have experienced such a bad decline in our trade deals and why the American middle class has been gutted so badly is because the tradesman has not been not vivified, but has not been venerated. That was the word I was looking for. The tradesman hasn't been venerated, and skills working with your hands haven't been really pushed to the forefront of education. I remember 20 years ago, I read this really great book by a guy who quit working in a Washington, D.C. think tank to become a motorcycle mechanic. And it was called In Defense of Work. And it was just a picture of a motorcycle on it. And I remember thinking that, wow, this is really good stuff. Because part of the reason why our manufacturing decline has happened so badly is because we have less people that are actually intimately aware of manufacturing and how it works. I remember when I was a kid, Cody, and I was in high school, and I was taking my first woodshop class. I remember we watched this video from the 60s that said, why woodshop is important for high school seniors. And it ended up describing why certain things you learn in woodshop are important. And one of the things it did say was, even though you may not become a woodworker, it's important that you know what good quality craftsmanship is. So when you go out to buy furniture or homes or good products or wooden products, you'll understand if they're well made or not, and you will protect yourself from fraud, overpricing, gouging, and poorly made products. And it showed this guy with a briefcase walking into his house and smelling the wood on the side of his house to see if it was green or whatever. And as much as that's jokey and it's hokey and it's an old video, there's a truth to that. As we have stopped working with our hands as people, we've created a vulnerable society that can't fix anything. Okay, nobody knows how to swing a hammer or to turn a screwdriver and fix anything. And also it allows all these other countries that have people that are willing to just make things, okay, that one step closer to being proficient in manufacturing. And this has worldwide implications. We won World War II because we out-manufactured the Germans and the Axis powers. Full stop. That's it. Yes, our soldiers were brave. Yes, our airmen were brave. Yes, they fought valiantly. But at the end of the day, for every Bf 109 that shot, for every Messerschmitt that shot an old Hurricane out of the sky, we were throwing up 5 P-51 Mustangs with trained pilots. We manufactured. Rosie the Riveter helped manufacture our way out of World War II.
Oh, police.
It's true. What do you mean, oh, police?
Oh, police, man.
Okay. Well, I'm done. Tell me where I go wrong.
How about the legendary strength of the Americans that won the War of 1812? Like,
hey, well, you know what, dude?
Damn
the
near
Kentucky black powder rifle could be said.
Almost 100 years ago, things were different. We lived in a different culture. We value different things. I don't know why.
Yeah, and we can go back to those values.
I don't know why this is a shock to people, that in 100 years things have changed. We don't. Do you think the people of 1840 would look at the people of 1940 and say, "Ah, yes, my countrymen"? How do you think?
What was that question?
You think the American of 1840 looks at the American in 1940 and goes, "Ah, yes, we are one and the same, fellow countrymen"?
I think more so the 1840 to 1940 than the 1940 to 2040.
Imagine you're an 1840 farmer, barely struggling, surviving out in the plains. This country's basically coming up on the Civil War, and you look 100 years in the future. People living in New York City, people living in Chicago, people living in Los Angeles, people going to the beach. Living in a country that's been like unified across the entire. I mean, like, we didn't have 50 states in 1850, in 1840. Like, I mean, yeah, it's different, dude. They would look at these people with air travel and look at them as soft. I guess maybe the commercial travel came later than that. But you know what I mean? Like, that's what happens in 100 years. You change. Yeah. You develop technologies. You live differently. You value different things. Languages you speak fundamentally start shifting. It's still English, but you use different words.
Hey, Spliff Sensei.
A lot changes.
Yeah, Spliff Sensei Joe Rogan. Yeah, but I mean, my theory that we manufactured our way out of World War II is pretty solid, because Spliff Sensei Joe Rogan brings up a good point that the steamboat won the War of 1812. You know what I'm saying? It's American invention, my man.
Yeah. No, hold on. And I want just one thing in the chat with the. No, hold on. I'm gonna flame Cardin for this.
Flame me.
The reason why we didn't set up a Discord line, which would be super easy and I can monitor and handle, is because Cardin had to have his phone line you could call with the phone.
Yeah.
I told him every step of the way, dude, I can just make a private channel at our Discord and I could just invite people in one by one and we could talk to them there. It'd be really easy. Like,
then let's do it. Let's do it like
dude,
that.
You got, okay, next stream, I'll have it set up to do it.
Rock on, let's do it. I accept the flame.
I could do it shitty right now, but next stream, I'll have it better put together, so it'll be easier. Also,
hey, speaking of flame, you're getting called out in the chat, dog.
Cool. I'm glad.
No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Something like that.
So
Hold on, let's get back to why is QAnon trending. QAnon is trending because a bunch of K-pop stans were tricked into thinking that making QAnon trend would be good, and they didn't know why. So here's the QAnon trend. It's mostly just K-pop fan cams. Because you can convince K-pop stans to make anything trend if you tell them that they should, and they will, because they will post their K-pop fan cams. Like I said, it really works out well for the QAnon people who get their name trending on Twitter.
yeah.
It helps them a lot. I don't really know what helps the fan cam community as much. And you'll notice no one else is even tweeting in QAnon. No one's even tweeting in support of QAnon on the QAnon hashtag. It's just trending globally or trending in the United States on Twitter. And honestly, if it's by the way, it moved up to the number 2 trend on the platform because they were able to convince people that this is the FOMO. They FOMO'd them into doing it.
Yeah.
And now millions of people that maybe were not exposed to QAnon before, or maybe were and are going to be curious to look into it, have an opportunity. Millions of people who never before would have thought to look up QAnon are going to click on the trend, see a bunch of K-pop dancers, say that's weird, and Google it. And maybe of the millions, like I said, tens of thousands will join QAnon. Join in the sense of like, oh, this is cool, I'll follow it now. I don't know how it helps the K-pop community, but I do know for a fact it helps the QAnon community to be trending on Twitter like this. It's like, for example, here's a little example right here. There was a wrestling pay-per-view, and Hulk Hogan and his friends, I think Randy Savage included, I think someone else, the Brutus Beefcake, I don't know. They were in front of the camera, and Hulk Hogan goes, "Look at this, brother. This is and he points to what's called, I think it was Pro Wrestling Observer, I think is what it's called. Anyway, it was basically a subscription-based magazine in like the early 90s, mid-90s. You could sign up, wrestling journalists would write about wrestling gossip, right? So Hulk Hogan's talking about how they got it wrong, brother. We lied to them, brother. Well, the reality is, Pro Wrestling Observer, I believe is what it's called, their subscriptions like doubled or tripled in a short period of time. Because while Hulk Hogan was making fun of them, he was also giving them exposure to hundreds of thousands of people. And what do you know? Some of them thought it sounded cool and signed up. That's what's happening here. While you're going, look at this QAnon, brother. Look how dumb they are, brother. Other people are going, whoa, QAnon, what's that? Just think with your head. I don't know. But that's why QAnon is trending.
No, see, I thought QAnon, though, has really just become like a movement.
It's not, but
because
it's a meme. It's a big meme. But
okay, well, Bo Watson challenges you, Cody, says, how much research did you put into QAnon? Did you just look at Twitter? People who follow QAnon on YouTube have 100.
I read
QAnon
threads in 4chan 3 years ago. Yeah. That's why I got familiar with it. That's where I found out what it was. I guess, 2017, right around after Trump took office. Because somebody was in the State Department leaking some secrets to QAnon. The same way 1 million people were in the State Department leaking secrets to like the New York Times and stuff. Like it wasn't any different. Like QAnon wasn't any different than someone in the New York Times writing an article saying unidentified sources say X.
Yeah.
Now, what I do think happened is whoever the individual was, I don't think is behind this anymore. That's my theory. If you want to know why I feel that way, that's why. I remember following it for a couple of years because it sounded weird and crazy and absurd. I'm like, what? And then I started to catch on, and then people started talking behind the scenes. Not behind the scenes, but you started seeing like people talking more like they starting to like identify. Alex Jones threatened to expose him like a month ago. Like it's not, it is a thing. Don't get me wrong, but it's
okay.
It's not this like secret underground movement thing, really. No, it's been going on for a while. People know about it. It's like people, it's like coming to me in the last 6 months. Like, you ever heard of Q? It's like, what you mean from like 3 years ago? QAnon? Yeah, I remember that. Oh, it's still around? I don't like Alex Jones threatened to expose the guy. That's the kind of it's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of community. It's my take in my opinion.
So Lucificarius Rat Speed says the way Free Talk Live does it, they have a server with multiple voice channels. Each channel allows a single user a queue forms, and during the break the host screens a call. Boom shakalaka. Looks like that might be an option for us. We'll look into that. And Nano,
that was what I fought tooth and nail, and you said no, bro, no, brother. We gotta have the call-in line, brother.
Cody, what officially in front of all of these men and women, I apologize for my lack of foresight and your wisdom. I should have recognized that you are indeed the oracle, and I declare mea culpa. All right, so Nanomancer71 says, hey, Card, do you have a Joe Biden impression? Two things. Yes and no. I do, but it's probably very bad because you said Norm Macdonald said you can't do impressions of somebody you don't like.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't like Joe Biden. I liked him a lot more. I lost a lot of respect for him after he dropped his first campaign ad. I actually kind of liked Crazy Joe in the beginning. I thought he was just a good retail politician, you know, and he was a fit in the nice guy category that I could amicably get along with while disagreeing along party lines or whatever. But when he chose to drop his first campaign ad, and you can go look at it, that was full of obvious intellectual dishonesty, I lost a lot of respect for him. So I find it difficult to do an impression of him because I don't like him anymore. And so I can't do it. Also, I don't have dentures, nor do I do blank stares very well. So that's the only thing that keeps me from doing a Joe Biden impression. It was popular. My Bernie Sanders impressions. Back in the day when Bernie Sanders was still relevant. So anyway, V-Trans says Discord is more equal. Don't need a phone number, just internet.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for telling Cardin this. I spent months trying to convince Cardin of this.
And now you're speaking hyperbolically.
Okay, fine, weeks. However long it took. However long that was. I kept telling him exactly this stuff. You know, dude, I can just make a room in Discord. Bring him in one at a time.
Okay,
we can
fine.
screen him that way. I can literally just mute Discord, going to OBS. No one will hear it. No, brother. Gotta have the number, brother. They gotta call it, brother. So, okay, man. We got it.
So then, Bo Watson says, if Trump Antifa, then in really bring out the boomstick time. I think autocorrect fixed his comment a little bit there. But I believe Bo was saying that when Trump gets reelected, it's going to be boomstick time. And I don't know exactly what the boomstick means, but I think it's a reference to Da Boomstick.
From?
That Vietnam movie, right? Where they call it the boomstick?
More recently, it would be This Is My Boomstick. You know what it's from?
No, I don't remember.
Let them know, chat. I'm sure someone in chat knows.
Okay.
Anyway, someone asked me why T1000 is trending on Twitter right now, and I literally don't know. I actually
also,
have the
hashtag New World
T1000
Order
trend
is
open.
trending on Twitter, says Zalos.
Yeah, but T1000, that's a Terminator, too.
Yeah.
Patrick something or something Patrick? What was the name
By
of
the way,
actor
did you
again?
know that he owns the Harley dealership in town?
Very good.
That actor that's the T1000 dude, if
Yeah,
you
I
want
was
to go
gonna say,
buy a
is
Harley,
something
he's the one that's
Patrick-
sitting behind the desk.
Oh, no, I'm going to visit him. Something Patrick or Patrick something. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Oh, okay. People are saying that this guy looks like T1000. No. I'm not. No, he doesn't.
Wow, weird.
T1000 looks way cooler. Check him out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Where's the good one? Somebody had a good one a second ago. It looks way. Look at that. Look, that looks way cooler.
Yeah, that's
Come on
pretty
now. Where's
tough.
the one where you see the multiple? Where it's not just him. Oh no, he was the cop the whole movie, wasn't he? In T2.
Yeah. Well, in Terminator 2, he
No,
was the
not the
time.
whole movie. Briefly in T2, he does shapeshift into like the people and stuff.
Yeah, he becomes other actors, but he's always the character the whole entire time because he actually adopts the look of, and I think the first officer he kills is the person that he ends up looking like. Feel sorry for that guy. So anyway, it's from Evil Dead Army of Darkness. Oh, that's it. Yeah, this
Thank
is my
you.
boomstick, and he's holding up the shotgun. Yes, you're
Army of
correct.
Darkness. That'd be the
I still need to see it. I haven't seen the Evil Dead. That's the original Sam Raimi movie, and I'm a film guy, and it has been on my list of movies to watch is The Evil Dead and Army of Darkness
Well, hold
for
on.
months now.
Hold on, you have to watch both though.
Yeah.
No, both Evil Deads.
Yes, sorry.
There's Evil Dead and then Evil
Uh-huh.
Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is a higher budget remake of Evil Dead 1 with largely the same cast and crew involved.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the few times in like movie history I've seen that happen.
Okay.
Where someone made a movie and it was vaguely successful and like, you know what though? We kind of wanted to make a higher budget, better version of that movie.
Yeah.
So let's just do it with like basically the same cast and it's basically the same plot and more or less the same stuff happens, just bigger and better and crazier. And because normally they'll just pitch it as a sequel, bigger, X2, bigger and better. But it was funny that they were just like, no, Evil Dead 2 is basically just Evil Dead 1 again. If you watch Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 back to back, it's the most ridiculous jarring experience ever.
Oh,
You watch
really?
the entire first film, and then basically the same crew and the same cast of characters are driving back to the cabin. Like, boy, hope we're going to have a fun weekend in the cabin. You're like, what the hell? You guys just
Yeah.
all died. It's the same movie twice. Anyway,
That's funny.
way of a tangent. I went off. Well, thankfully they dropped the curfews out here. I didn't think they would, but they
Yeah.
did. I always forget something, man, and I have to remember this myself. I encourage more people to remember this. Remember how fast coronavirus went away? Remember how fast the war with Iran went away? Remember how fast impeachment went away? That's how fast whatever the next thing's going to go away. And it's crazy, man, but that's what happens. I hate seeing it, but it's like you wake up one day and it's just... I mean, I've been kind of joking, but it reminds me of how software's updated. It's like they'll send out a hot fix. There's no patch notes. You don't even know you downloaded it. It's just been changed. And you have to just deal with it. And you have to kind of ask yourself, wait a minute, was that actually patched? Is that changed intentionally? Or is what I'm seeing wrong? Or did I just not know this was changed? And it's the weirdest feeling, but the only thing I can equate it to is that. I'm not saying like we live in a simulation or anything, but it's just the feeling. It's the only thing I can equate to it, where it's like all of a sudden, like I used to play Dota 2, full disclosure. And there'd be times I'd read Dota 2 patches and just be like, what the hell? They're changing what? All of this is going to be different? Like, and then you jump in and everything looks different and feels different and works different now. And it's just like, it just happens. You don't have any say in it. Doesn't matter what you think about it. Doesn't matter if you want it. It's how it is now. And it just comes and goes. It's the craziest thing. Soleimani was killed this year.
Yeah, that's true. It is nuts,
it's
man.
like these things that Donald Trump's impeachment trial was
Saugus
this
High was
year.
this year. Saugus High was this year.
No, it wasn't.
It's within the past 12 months.
Okay, it was 2019. I mean,
okay.
I'm talking about Donald Trump's impeachment thing blew up in 2020. Soleimani was blowing up January of 2020.
Yeah.
Andrew Yang was running for president up until, was it the beginning of March or was it February? I think it was like early March.
90 days, yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm telling you, it's like somebody just presses a button and just the rules change. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. The speed of it.
Yeah.
The way it's just so fast and quick and hits so hard where it's like, I mean, dude, I remember for example, for us out in LA, it was the most bizarre thing. They were very gung-ho about the coronavirus lockdowns. All of a sudden, one day, seemingly out of nowhere, they're just like, fuck it, everything opens up in like a week. It was like, what? I mean, it was like maybe in 6 months, we'll have like dine-in open at 10% capacity with robot servers, and they just kind of went to screw it, open up, we don't care anymore. And then it was
I would literally see memes floating around that said so we're not doing coronavirus anymore.
That led to, but 48 hours later, we're living under curfews imposed for entirely different reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, the speed of it is really getting astonishing.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it almost makes you wonder, is this the machine that's starting to run so fast that finally it just ruptures out of control? Or is this
tell you what, there has been software that's been patched to hell and it's had things change so much and people stop recognizing and understanding what's going on until they stop using it. I don't know what the equivalent is. There is, to the software updating analogy, that does happen where people get frustrated and upset with something that's been changed too much from what they wanted.
Yeah. So I do have a question for the chat while we're on the topic, not on the topic, but we were briefly on the topic about the Evil Dead and Sam Raimi and Army of Darkness and so on and so forth. Me and Cody have actually started a movie channel. A lot of people don't realize this, but we've been letting the videos go for about 2.5 weeks just to glean organic data from their performance and so on and so forth before we actually announce it to the rest of the group and our traditional audience on Problem Solver Politics. But we have actually started doing some cool movie reviews, some old school retro tech. I'm actually really excited for this channel, and it's pretty fun. Won't give away all the details here, but it's going to be pretty rad. Cody likes to call it 1970s Netflix because a lot of it has to do with old Super 8 film cinema and so on and so forth. Long before they had VHS and Blockbuster movie retail outlets or rental outlets, and long before they had Netflix or streaming or so on and so forth. How did people watch home video? And we watch a lot of those videos, and it's actually super fun and super interesting. So there will be more on that later, but I'd like to see some suggestions from you guys in the chat of some kind of off the beaten path movies you'd like to see us review, or even just common movies you'd like to see our opinions on. Just boom, if you got any titles of movies you'd like us to review and see what we think, as part of the first 10 episodes that we do, we will be open for suggestions in the chat. So anyway, let's keep going.
That's interesting. Some Lufusarius rat speed. Interesting point. You brought up Art Bell, Coast to Coast AM fame, I believe, right? No,
Art
I get it
Bell?
wrong. That's the wrong art. Either way, interesting point. He said the quickening. It describes the exponential speeding up events that is occurring. And I honestly think what that really is more of attributed to is information moves faster.
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to look up Art Bell. That's ringing a bell.
I think
no
we
pun
thought
intended.
that information, I don't know. I think mentally you might think of information moving in the span of days or weeks, but we don't think of how much it matters that information moved 45 minutes faster now than it used to.
Yeah.
That's still time. That's still quicker. That's still faster. That's still more time for people to make up their mind before other info comes out. I think I do it. I take for granted the fact that just because news that comes out 95 minutes faster than it used to, an hour faster than it used to, 20 minutes faster than it used to, is still changing things because it's still just faster than we're used to.
Yeah.
It gets back to what we're talking about. One of the reasons why decimal time failed for the French, it's kind of hard to retrain your brain on how time generally functions.
Yeah.
Like imagine what you thought was a minute isn't a minute anymore. What you thought was a second isn't a second anymore. It kind of screws with your head, dude. You're like, I thought I knew what a minute was. Well, I knew what a second was. I don't anymore? That's weird.
I didn't know that Art Bell, I didn't realize that Art Bell was the original host of Coast to Coast.
That's why, I don't know why I backed down from that.
It was always George
I listened
Norrie.
to Coast to Coast a lot.
My mom used to listen to AM 640 driving home all the time, and from 8 to midnight, it was George Norrie on Coast to Coast. And gosh, man, she started listening to that. I swear it must have been like 1996 or 1997. So I don't know when Art Bell must have been doing it. But anyway, keep going. Make our attention spans shorter, says Spliff Sensei Joe Rogan. And Trev Third says, AKA the Singularity. All right. Chris Flory says, maybe review the movie A Day Without a Mexican. Kind of dated information in there, but a lot of some of the themes are still
wasn't that like a documentary?
relative. Yeah, it was really funny. It was, I think,
right? Or was it
not
actually,
Ray Rodriguez,
was
but
it a film or a documentary? I've
no,
never seen it.
it's this funny faux documentary narrative made by, I think it was Ray Rodriguez. I can't remember the director's name, but it's called A Day Without a Mexican, and all the Mexicans in California one day just magically disappear, and it just shows what would happen. And there's all these like rich suburbanites that are like, you know, it's actually, that's the kind of funny political satire and comedy that I very enjoy. It was A Day Without a Mexican. Vistatronic 1 says, blood in, blood out, bound by honor, must see. Okay.
Let me look up. Both those sound vaguely familiar. I've seen a lot of movies. I don't know the name of them. Let me see if I...
Okay, we're typing this all down. So blood in, blood out, bound by honor, must see. Now, are those two movies or is that one movie and a log line? I'm not sure, but we're probably about to find out. V-Tran says, this is Coast to Coast. Aliens everywhere. Yeah, I mean...
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Is Coast to Coast AM still going on?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I got to tune into that, man. That is real radio right there.
How many people in that? But you
that
know
is
what,
real
do
radio.
You know what really got me listening to Coast AM on and off a little bit, though, when I'm bored? It
What?
was I don't want to get so off topic here, but it's too late. We're already here. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Great film. I'm actually a really big fan of...
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart.
Yes, James. I'm actually a very big James Stewart fan. Some of my favorite films are James Stewart films.
You know, he donated his entire private film collection to BYU, my university.
He's a Mormon?
No, but he was a huge fan of the
He's
Mormon.
a Mormon sympathizer?
He's a Mormon sympathizer. No, he was a huge fan of Mormon Tabernacle Choir and is a big-time friend of the church and some of the prophets and the presidents of the church, to such a degree that he actually did an entire Christmas film. Jimmy Stewart did an entire Christmas film for the church called Mr. Kruger's Christmas. And it's about this old man who is alone in his New York apartment in Christmas time. And I don't remember it, but I remember seeing the DVD as a kid and thinking like, that's Jimmy Stewart. You know what I'm saying? He unfortunately, there's only one thing where good old Jimmy Stewart, one of my favorite actors as well. I'm a huge fan of Jimmy Stewart. But apparently word on the street is that he was supportive of the McCarthy trials. You know, he thought that they were actually necessary or were going somewhere. And I'm a huge opponent of the McCarthy trials. So, my heart bleeds for that part of Jimmy Stewart if it's true, but
I'm sorry, Mr. Wow.
uh-huh.
I kind of thought you were the kind of person who didn't really care about what artists did outside of their art. I don't know. I thought you made that case before.
Hey, look.
That, hey, how can you just cancel someone because you don't agree with the politics they had? How could you struggle?
Did you
to
hear
watch,
me canceling
not
him?
cancel,
I
but
just
still,
said,
weeps for
it
what?
hurts me.
Who cares? I don't care.
You got to admit, it's a lot easier
James
and more
Stewart could
fun.
be in prison for murder. He could have died in prison for murder. I would still like his film. Dude, I watch Chris Benoit wrestling matches and I enjoy them. I think he was a great wrestler. I don't endorse how he ended his life, but I think that Chris Benoit was, I can watch him wrestle and I just watch the art.
Once you figured out that Michael Jackson liked little boys, don't you admit that it kind of allegedly? Don't you admit that it kind of tainted a little bit the listening experience?
I have dove into the further catalog of Michael Jackson to hear more of his stuff, and I've appreciated his work more.
Okay. I can deal with that, but you can't say that it's not on the bandwidth.
He does this thing about touching kids, so I don't care what he allegedly may or may not have done.
Look, I'm not saying
it's not on my bandwidth.
I'm not trying to cancel the guy either. I'm just saying.
My point is, I legitimately don't think of those things. I watch Chris Benoit wrestle. I don't say, wow, that guy murdered his whole family. What a monster. I watch him wrestle and go, damn, he could wrestle. I listen to Michael Jackson songs and I don't think, wow, he allegedly did things. I listen to Michael Jackson songs and go, wow, man, he was literally one of the million. What a talent that guy was.
Interesting.
I can watch Karl Malone play basketball. I'm not a fan of Karl Malone off the court, but I'll watch him ball. He's a great player.
Oh, what did he do, man?
I think he had a child with a 15-year-old like twice.
Oh, get out of town.
Not a great guy, Carl.
Oh,
but great basketball player. I don't care what you do. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit weird in that sense, but I'm able to look at what somebody does and then not equate that with the other things they do, right? Like, people do all kinds. You know what? You know who taught me how to do that?
Oh.
Your boy James Stewart.
Oh.
In the film Anatomy of a Murder, he said, look, I'm doing this a long time, learned a lot of things. No one's all good, no one's all bad. We're all in between.
Anatomy of a Murder. No, that's a great quote, man. That's a really great quote. So a lot of people are saying here, maybe you should do like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, or some of these older films. I'm totally down. I would love it. Tom Arula says Dark City, the Maltese Falcon. We got the Maltese Falcon on original Super
Dark
8.
Cities, by the way, is a really good film.
Dark City,
got
I haven't
really
seen
overlooked because it came out at an unfortunate time for movies, where a lot of big movies came out. But Dark City is great. Dark City stars.
What year did it come out?
2000.
2000.
Is it Rufus Wainwright? What's his name? Rufus something or something.
Rufus Wainwright, isn't it? He's the...
I don't know. Rufus something, I believe is the name of the guy in it. And then also 24, Jack or whatever in 24.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll check out Dark City.
Dark City was a really cool movie. It was really weird. Jennifer Connelly, I believe, was in that movie. Really good. No, yeah, I that was one of like the first. That was one of those first like going back to the late 90s, early 2000s. There's like some movies that kind of got lost in the shuffle. Where I went back and reminded someone. I was like, dang, Dark City's cool. I like this movie.
Okay, so reverse Uno card.
Oh, one second. And do we have to go? Yeah, sorry, you got it.
Yeah, reverse Uno card says Sly Cactus. Thank you very much for the super chat, Sly. It's kind of cool. We got that little. Now that we're talking movies, I like the Sylvester Stallone reference.
Hold on, yeah. Is there any? I recommend anyone. Rufus. So I know it was Rufus. I will say this to everyone all the time, and I'll bore anyone around me. If anyone knows me personally, they know I've harassed them into watching this movie they've never watched. What? I believe it's available for free on YouTube. Maybe not. There's a film. It was a documentary made by Orson Welles called F for Fake. It's one of the coolest movies I've ever seen in my life. If you're just looking for something weird and different, something different than what you've watched, it's very different from anything. It's like a documentary put together in Orson Welles' weird, crazy way. Amazing film. Like seriously, I recommend anyone go and look it up. The story it tells itself is the story that it tells is amazing in itself. But then Orson Welles is one of the all-time great storytellers. So the way he tells it, you'll just be enthralled for the whole 90-minute runtime or whatever. So that was it. If I were to recommend a film, it would be that film. Yeah. I will continue to harass people I know to watch that film, by the way. But if there's going to be a movie I recommend, that's the movie I recommend.
I've got a couple of suggestions here myself, too, Cody. First off, our opening episode will actually be on this movie, Series 7, The Contenders, which you can watch for free online, I believe. So we'll just put that one out of the way. But I just grabbed a bunch of DVDs. These are the first one that came off. Dude, sick documentary, Nobody's Business. All right. Have you ever seen this, Cody? Made in the 90s by a guy about his grandfather. Totally amazing. Made in 1996, 60 minutes. You got to watch that one. Epic American cinema. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Still one of my favorites.
I actually prefer the sequel. It's not as good of a movie, but I prefer it.
You prefer the sequel? Okay.
I grew up watching it as a kid on VHS. More so that's the one I remember more.
Talking old movies. Gotta watch Metropolis. Okay, you're a big Fritz Lang fan. You like the Testament of Dr. Mabuse.
And other films.
And other films. I definitely dig The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And I think Metropolis, politically, we can talk about this here on our show.
Caligari's not Fritz Lang.
No, Caligari's, you're right, I'm sorry. It's not a Fritz Lang film. It predates him by like 20 years. But you guys got to watch Metropolis. Literally, the class warfare and this movie is so relevant today. I can't think of a movie that stands the test of time better than Metropolis. Can you, Cody?
In what way? Like content or quality?
Oh, themes, thematic
Thematically.
elements.
I would say the movie that shocks me as well as it stands up is I think it was, I don't know if it was the original, but if you look up, it's like one of the first silent Joan of Arc films. It's crazy. You can watch it today, and it's really old silent film. It's with Joan of Arc. People are much more interested in her 120 years ago than they are now, and very fascinating film for how old it is. You can watch it. And I guess what? If you want to talk about movies that hold up better than anything for their age, how about, what is it, Trip to the Moon? I mean, that very famous scene of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a movie from like 1905, right? Wasn't that George Méliès or whatever? I mean, like, those movies but no, I mean, I guess if you mean it's like thematically. I agree a little bit thematic, but I don't know.
So we've got...
you could say Intolerance has been one of the most eternally relevant films.
Actually, the D.W. Griffith film?
Yeah, it's literally just Intolerance through the ages is what the movie's about.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I should. Next up on my list is V for Vendetta. Totally not underrated, but not talked enough about film, especially considering the themes of pandemic, quarantine, and authoritarianism present. Thank You for Smoking. Freaking hilarious. Made by two BYU grads.
Another good political film. It shows you a lot about how those goddamn lobbyists function.
Yeah, exactly. Also, watch The Swamp on YouTube. It's free. The first 5 episodes of The Swamp show you exactly how Congress works, and it is amazing. The Hillsdale College free classes on Congress are better than a Ken Burns documentary. I shouldn't say better, but just as good as a Ken Burns documentary, and they will just get you like, boom, furious at Congress, wanting to participate more. Here's a sick documentary from the director of Capote. This is just a documentary, but this is my copy. I think you have to get this used on Amazon. But this movie, The Cruise, this movie is awesome. It won the Berlinale, I believe. It won a bunch of other film festivals. Great. And last two are the best worst movie about Troll 2. If you haven't seen Troll 2 yet, you are missing out. And then finally, boom, my movie. You got to go watch it. King Cohen. First time my name showed up on a movie poster. That was the first movie where I got executive producer credit, my man. And I think it's actually super inspiring. Makes you think you can grab just like a little VHS camera and go make a movie and conquer the world, baby. So yeah, that's it. Those were our suggestions.
Someone asked me what I watch.
I was going to say, are you going to watch the platform again?
Like probably years from now, if I saw it come up again, I'd watch it because I kind of liked it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again in like short order. So it was okay. It was pretty good. It was one of those movies where I saw it. Obviously, I mean, it's like the movie's pretty contained in what's going on. I always find myself, I kind of wanted to know more about the outside world, like those little bits where they showed them cooking the food and stuff. I kind of wanted to know more about that. When it shows them coming in and getting like put in, I kind of wanted to know more about that. And I feel like that's the kind of stuff I'm not going to glean more of on additional views. Probably not again, but it was pretty cool. It's just, I'm trying to think of movies that legitimately would, like the movies I watch over and over again are like Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. I've seen that movie like 6 or 7 times. I'll watch Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx like any day of the week. I'm a huge Michael Mann fan. I'll watch Thief the same way any day of the week with James, because there's some movies that are just kind of like cool action movies that I'll watch all the time.
Okay.
But those movies like The Platform or whatever, they're like, I need to kind of forget what happens chronologically in the film, let some time pass to watch it again, and then be like, oh yeah, I forgot like that happened. Oh, that's crazy, because there is some stuff in the movie where it steps up and things get crazier, but I don't know. I feel like I've just seen it, and I felt like it's you know, like what they're doing in the movie is pretty obvious, right? Like you kind of see it happening, so I didn't feel like I missed too much. That's way too long, but just to say, yes, I'll watch it again, but probably not like soon. It'll probably be a while till I watch it again, because it's neat. I get the point they're making. I guess that's the point. I kind of got the point they were making the first time I saw it.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm not going to watch the Snowpiercer TV show because I didn't like the movie.
Oh, you're not going to watch Snowpiercer?
No, I didn't like the movie.
That's
okay. Hold on. Someone mentioned
list.
The Cube. I love the Cube series. I think I've seen every Cube movie. I love those movies.
What's the Cube?
Cube, it's like there's just people trapped in a giant cube and they have to get out, and they have all kinds of weird reality bending. The more you get into the movies, they get crazier. But yeah, they're in like these cubes and they have to get to these different rooms and they're trapped and there's a bunch of random people. Like, how do we get out? You go into this one.
Dude, Vistatronic 1. Bringing up a blast from my past. My parents had me watch it. Batteries not included. Do you remember that one?
I'm aware of it.
It was about the little robots like Wall-E before Wall-E was Wall-E. And then we also got Zero Fallout 1 saying Forbidden Planet. It was one of the best sci-fi movies ever. Are you talking about the original? Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Are you talking
Will
about
Robinson.
Lost in Space, though, and not Forbidden Planet?
Oh, shoot. You're right. I totally mixed those up. I'm sorry. Because I was about to say the original sci-fi of Lost in Space. I'm sorry. That was bad. Forbidden Planet. The red one about Mars.
I believe Forbidden Planet's from like the 60s.
Okay.
And then, Drainage. Daniel Day-Lewis. That's a good movie. That's a movie legitimately, now that you mention it. Thank you, Lufus Arias. I'm going to go back and watch There Will Be Blood again. I haven't seen a movie in a while.
Hey, do you know what book that was based off of?
No, one last thing real quick.
Oil by John Updike.
But okay, yes. But yes,
Yeah.
I did know that.
Okay.
Not like top of my head, no, but yeah, I remember like just kind of I think there was promotional images from There Will Be Blood that were just oil with the exclamation point like that.
Okay.
And then Scapo, Satoshi Kon films, anime that inspired Hollywood stuff. Paprika was Inception. Perfect Blue was Black Swan, and Every Frame of Painting did a rad video on him. I'm going to get flamed. I struggle to watch anime. I just don't.
Dude, by the way, can
it.
somebody tell me
No flame. I appreciate a lot of anime stuff. There's some animes I was able to watch. I was able to watch the Danganronpa animes because I played the game and I liked them. But I don't know, just one of those things. I can't get into them. I try and I just can't.
Well, tell me this, Scapo. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. What happened to Every Frame of Painting? Every Frame of Painting was a great YouTube channel that was some seriously deep movie analysis. I loved it. I subbed to them. I think I've watched every video that they made, but they stopped about 3 years ago. Anybody know where they went? For those of you that know the YouTube channel Every Frame of Painting, I'm curious to see where they went. So anyway,
Hobo with the Shotgun's a funny. I love Hobo with the Shotgun because it's Rutger Hauer, and I always just imagine like. Seriously, the Tears in the Rain monologue he gives at the end of Blade Runner is phenomenal. When you watch him movies like Hobo with the Shotgun and stuff, it's like, how is it the same guy? Like, why is he doing that?
Wait, Hobo with the Shotgun 2011? Oh, I need to watch that.
Yeah, it's super schlock. I mean, schlock's the wrong word. It's just goofy. It's just over the top. It's supposed to be, it's like a spoof of, I believe maybe farce would be a word for it. I don't know. You can use many words. But I always think it's funny because he can act, dude. He's not the greatest actor of all time, but he's pretty good, and it's just funny seeing him and stuff like that. It's like, why are you doing this, dude? Like
Hobo with the Shotgun 2011.
But I guess he likes it. I guess he
now
just
that's
likes
my
it.
kind of movie poster right there. That is absolutely 110% my kind of movie poster right there. I am loving that. That's something I would get and stick up inside the studio here. So anyway, we're going to keep going here. Got a couple of questions. Sly Cactus says the B movie, best anime ever. Tears in the Rain, what a scene. Anime is niche, not really mainstream here in the US. There's some great anime. I did see Assault on Titan. I thought that was a great series.
It's Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan, yeah.
I watched the first series of that. They pivoted away. It pivoted away from a really cool anime I would have watched to what I expect more animes to be like. There was a very brief period of time in Attack on Titan where it's kind of more about like the fighting force they're compiling and like kind of like how people have to learn to work together and how important it is for everyone to do their job and like how like they're kind of, it's almost like when you watch the volleyball or basketball animes, right? And then like by the end of the series it was just like, you are the super giant fighting the other, and I was like, dang it. I kind of like it was more interesting to me when they were following these recruits, learning what it meant to like fight in like the army against the giants. But then I don't know, I think it's one of the reasons why though I don't get into I think my biggest problem with anime TV series is the business model of it.
Yeah.
Very much they want to sell you the book and then they want to sell you the movie. Of course, I'm not using the right terms here. I understand. But I feel like that interest of it kind of leads to the reason why I like the Danganronpa anime is because I played the game. I knew what was going to happen. And I just kind of wanted to see the characters from the game I played come to life more. That was more what was interesting to me.
Emerald Miner says Assault on Titan can't get much more boomer than that. How was that boomer? I thought that was putting me in the cool kid club.
Because it's not called Assault on Titan. It's called Attack on Titan. It's literally like saying, I play Pokemans. What do you mean I know what kids like?
Oh, man.
I'm a big Pokemon and Sanic fan. I know what the kids like. The Marios and stuff.
There's no excuse for Sanic.
You don't know the Marios and the Sanics and the Pokemans? What is wrong with you?
Oh, man. Pivot guy says,
the Digimens?
Thwack on
You don't know the Digimens? You don't play with Digimen? Are you like a boomer or something?
Yeah. So
you don't play Fortnite?
Fortnite. Look, we're about to wrap up here, guys. So if you got any super chats left in your system, any last burning questions you want to ask us, make sure you get them out here. Also, please remember to smash that like button. We got 109 people watching, but only 49 people have actually hit the like button, which means we're short 60 people smashing that like button. Also, hey, we want to grow this channel. We want to grow the audience. We want to further the message. If you can, just make sure you share this live stream. Just boom, hit that share button, throw it up on Twitter, on YouTube, not on YouTube, but on Facebook, whatever your social media is that is not completely overcome with culture war right now, and just say, hey, I like these guys. You should give them a listen. That is a huge way to help the channel. Or consider just joining. Joining the channel is a super awesome way to keep these videos coming, baby. Anyway, Cody, you got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Dang, no, I don't.
Deep.
I thought I did, but I really don't.
I'm excited. Hopefully, by this time next week on our new live stream, we will also at least one of our cameras will be upgraded.
Yeah. Oh, and when
yeah.
basketball comes back, please remember to support the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah. So Brian Kitching says, thanks, guys. Just listen while driving. Glad to please you. Blade Dragon says, please allow Discord call-ins. I may join in. You know what? We're going to do that. We're going to do that next time. That was my bad. I totally take it. Cody was
just messing with you. I know you wanted the phone line. It was just difficult for us to work.
It was and the phone line did work, and it is good. But anyway,
yeah.
Sly Cactus says, Assassination Classroom, great anime. Here's money. Thank you, Sly Cactus.
Hey, how about this,
and
guys?
is Assassination Classroom basically Battle Royale, but just in anime? Hoy, will kill you!
No, but hold on.
Flashy behind the face.
We do have a Twitch recently. I'll tell you what. For any of you guys, if any of you guys would want to make us watch animes, you want to come join us on Twitch. If any of them are on Twitch Prime, I think if you have Twitch Prime, we could do a Twitch Prime.
You could have a watch party.
And we'll do that.
Yeah. So
that's probably how I would. I probably couldn't do it by myself.
We'll
if you guys want to do it, I think it'd be fun. So let us know.
We'll hang around for another 60 seconds just to see if you guys would be interested in that. If you guys are interested in doing a Twitch watch party, I believe it's anything on Amazon Prime.
One last thing. I want to wrap up the last thing. We'll wrap up on the QAnon stuff. Someone said they missed why QAnon was trending, and we'll get really quickly to it. QAnon became trending because the K-pop crowd was tricked into thinking that by posting their K-pop fan cams, which really all you have to do is have the audacity to exist on Twitter and K-pop fan cams show up, and they used it. The QAnon crowd used the K-pop fan cam crowd to boost the QAnon message to the top of the Twitter trends. So, interesting little story we saw right there. And you'll notice that QAnon, we move it over the last hour or two, has been the #2 trend in the United States. Let's see if it cracked global trends. I'm actually kind of curious.
So
QAnon cracked the global trend list with the support of the K-pop community. Let's give a big round of applause to the K-pop community for helping to make sure that people around the world now know what QAnon is that didn't know before. We love you, K-pop. Please don't stop the fan cams. Please keep spreading the word of QAnon to millions of people across the globe. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
I just have to say before we go, this is my last one. Viscatronic 1.
Oh, how about this? Do we have a P.O. box? Someone asked me. We should have got one. Someone said, $2 super chat from Scapo said, I'll send some Satoshi Kon Blu-ray. Got a P.O. box? I don't think we do.
Actually, yeah, we will get one. I'm going to cancel our phone line and then get a P.O. box.
And Jeremy,
Yo, wear my wrench, #ADOS.
I say be patient. I can't give somebody moderator privileges when they ask, or else everyone asks me. But be patient.
Yeah. Yo, where my wrench? And I gotta say, I'm loving, of the past 30 minutes, Viscatronics #dad joke. Do you plate, fork, knife? Is that's pretty awesome. Are you indeed a dad, Viscatronic? Because if you are, it just makes that even that much better.
Oh, and the last couple things. I had a friend who would swear I had to watch Do Ra Ra Ra. Never seen it, but someone to recommend that. And I actually read, I don't know, like the first 40 whatever the first mangas or whatever of Death Note. Death Note was cool as well.
Okay,
that
cool.
was before the Netflix adaptation, which is like now Netflix adaptation is like shorthand for like the shameless corporate cash grab tie-in nonsense.
Yeah.
Like you can almost just throw that out as like the Netflix adaptation. It's like, oh, That one.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks a million, guys,
Yes, thank you, everyone,
for
being
all
here.
the participation. Once again, this has been a super fun live stream. We're going to be here tomorrow. We're live streaming.
I will not.
mañana.
You will.
Oh, you won't? Okay,
Oh,
then it's
yeah.
probably going to be Brittany the Shadow filling in for you.
Nice.
Yeah, so Brittany the Shadow is going to be here tomorrow. She's been on a little bit of a sabbatical, dealing with some family issues, but she will be back. This is Problem Solver Politics. We will see you in the next video.
1 second.